The Big Bang Theory spin-off's finest episode demonstrated that the show needed to depart from its initial idea, despite young Sheldon's massive fan base. Many sitcoms entice viewers with a fantastical premise, only to shift gears and concentrate on a more expansive story later on. Even though the male pals of New Girl's protagonist were already familiar by the third season, many still considered this to be the best excursion of the program. At the same time, the series finale of Young Sheldon demonstrated that the offshoot of the Big Bang Theory had completely lost sight of its initial concept. The pitch for Young Sheldon's story made it sound easy. The sitcom served as a prequel to the Big Bang Theory, detailing the struggles had by the show's socially awkward anti-hero during his formative years in rural Texas. The characters of Young Sheldon would include his relatives, instructors, and neighbors, all of whom were as baffled by his scientific prowess and wild antics as he was. It became apparent, though, as the series neared the conclusion of Young Sheldon, that the creators had no plans to limit themselves to this plot point. This was excellent news, as shown in its finest episode. Since the announcement of the Nobel Prize recipients was delayed until 5 p.m. Texas time, Sheldon's party was attended solely by his mother, Mary, and the situation quickly descended into tragedy. In the Season 2 finale of Young Sheldon, titled A Swedish Science Thing and the Equation for Toast, the protagonist, Sheldon, tried to throw a celebration in honor of his colleague, Dr. Sturgis, who was nominated for a Nobel Prize. In this unexpectedly moving episode, despite its tragic premise, young Sheldon demonstrated that being a genius as a child isn't all fun and games. Since the announcement of the Nobel Prize recipients was delayed until 5 p.m. Texas time, Sheldon's party was attended solely by his mother, Mary, and the situation quickly descended into tragedy. Sheldon, who was devastated, took this as a sign that he had no friends. Worse yet, Sturgis experienced a major depression episode simultaneously. A period of mental illness occurred for Sturgis as a result of the stress of his extremely demanding job in theoretical physics and the awareness that he could never get a Nobel Prize for physics. This made Sheldon even more self-conscious about his social isolation, and the hero of Young Sheldon's story broke down in tears as he saw how much his IQ had driven a wedge between him and his classmates. It was so heartbreaking that Young Sheldon rethought its idea following this, and it was also one of the show's best insights into the titular character. Season 2's finale put the social isolation that comes with being a child prodigy front and center, even if the spin-off thankfully reckoned all the bullying that Sheldon described in The Big Bang Theory. In the first 2 seasons of Young Sheldon, the focus was on Sheldon's crazy antics, not his family. Unintentionally promoting communism, denying God's existence in church, and struggling with the concept of practical jokes were all outcomes of Sheldon's superior intellect and lack of social graces. Being a kid genius isn't necessarily something to chuckle at, as the tragic Young Sheldon story by Sturgis shows. Season 2's finale put the social isolation that comes with being a child prodigy front and center, even if the spin-off thankfully reckoned all the bullying that Sheldon described in The Big Bang Theory.